everyone, and welcome to the Alive and Well, episode 57 of Home Games podcast. Of the Home Games podcast. Man, it's only been 2 weeks, but it feels like forever. I'm Yazeed, and this is Joseph.
Hello, my name is Joseph, and today is Saturday, November 21st, 2020.
That's right. And for Home Games topic this week, we are talking about the user account creation process and certs again. And I'm going to see if I can answer any of the questions Joseph had for me on the other podcasts that he did without me. But first, how's it going, bud?
It's good. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you are not dead. I was pretty worried in that beginning.
I was as well. It was a bad time to get a respiratory infection. Let me tell you.
Yeah, when you were like, oh, just coughing, can't breathe, have a fever. Just like, oh, shit, well, rest in peace, Yazeed.
Intense body aches, zero energy, like heavy fatigue. Like I was definitely like, this is checking a lot of boxes, but...
Yeah, I would send you a text and then be like, if he doesn't respond within 20 minutes, he's dead. No, it's just like waiting on the phone.
I spent a lot of time sleeping, dude. A lot of time sleeping.
Yeah. But yeah, glad you're feeling better. As for me, I don't know. Recording that stuff by myself was pretty weird, but it was cool. I just did one of these on Tuesday, or Monday or whenever it was. So I don't have a whole lot to actually like update on home game stuff. I do have some, but just since then been hanging out. I managed to allegedly acquire a PS5 according to Walmart's website. I have an order still pending. So I said I wasn't interested in a PS5. I said I didn't want a PS5. I said I was whatever because I'm an idiot and I'm a hypocrite and I'm stupid. So I saw some gameplay. I didn't realize because I haven't been following stuff that closely this year. But the PS5 and the Xbox. Also, real quick, the new Xbox naming convention is horrible, and I don't even know what the new one is called. But like the most recent, most powerful Xbox, they can play old Xbox and PlayStation games like they're backwards compatible, and they play them better. Like they play them at higher frame rates, higher resolutions, and all that kind of stuff. So I saw footage of a PS5 playing Ghost of Tsushima, and it was running at 60 FPS. And I was basically like, oh, if I have all this backlog of PS4 games that I'm going to play, why not play them in the better state? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Is like kind of my whole thing. If I'm going to sink time into games and I want to run them better and have them be smoother and all this other kind of stuff. And then also Demon Souls. Those are basically the only two reasons that I wanted one. But when it all became real, when like the dates were actually here and people had them, I was like, oh, I need a PS5. So anyway, we'll see if Walmart follows through because their website's a total mess. And one of my friends said that they were hearing their orders were getting canceled because they oversold them and all this other kind of nonsense. So I'm waiting for my shipping notification.
Oof. Yeah. Are you going to get the new Jak and Daxter as well?
I didn't know there was a new Jak and Daxter. Did they announce that recently, or was it like a long time ago?
I hope it is Jak and Daxter, but I'm pretty sure it is announced. I watched Video Game Donkey's YouTube video on should you get a PS5, and I'm pretty sure he name drops that as one of the games at launch.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's out. I mean, at least I haven't heard of it. I think the only games that are out right now are like the new Assassin's Creed. There's one called like Godfall or something like that, and then there's Bugsnax, and then Demon Souls and a couple others like Call of Duty. That was another one. Which I've been playing Call of Duty. Fucking hate Call of Duty. I guess that's it. It's the same game every year. It's the same thing. But yeah, anyway, what was I saying before about the PlayStation? Yeah, there's no games on it. I just want Demon Souls. And Jak and Daxter will come out eventually. Ratchet and Clank will come out eventually. Ratchet and Clank
was Ratchet and Clank is what he talked about.
I saw footage of Ratchet and Clank when they announced the console and all that kind of stuff. And Ratchet and Clank is maybe like one of my favorite series of all time, so I kind of have to eventually whenever that first new game comes out, but yeah.
I get confused between the two because I've never played either of them, so I don't know which one is which.
In my head it's like Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, and Ratchet and Clank are all kind of in the same thing in my head, and then Spyro is kind of a whole separate thing, and then Crash Bandicoot's a whole separate thing, but for some reason those three are in my head.
It's kind of same. Even though I've never played any of the three, they're kind of tied together. I think it's because those were the three big PlayStation games for so long.
And they're all so good.
Uncharted was like the big deal.
Yeah. And Naughty Dog made Crash Bandicoot, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
they made Uncharted and Last of Us and all this other kind of stuff. So they've been like the Sony, the whole
Wow,
point to buy a PlayStation, basically.
Yeah, when you list it out like that, dang, they're kind of carrying that console, like the console specific games.
And Insomniac with Ratchet and Clank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, there's gonna be a new Psychonauts too, I heard.
Did Psychonauts 2 come out, or did they like announce that? I thought they announced that like 15 years ago.
I know. I'm not sure. There's supposed to be a Psychonauts on PS5, so that's all I know.
Okay, I've been meaning to play the first one forever because I've heard a bunch of good stuff about it, but I've never really, besides Brutal Legend, which people say is not a great game, I've never really played a good Double Fine game. Or Costume Quest. I guess I like Costume Quest.
Okay. I've never played any of like the PlayStation exclusive games, so I basically just hear that they're like, "Oh, this game's so amazingly great," and I'm always like, "Oh, interesting." I'd like to one day play that, knowing that I'll likely never get to play any of them.
Yeah, for me that's Ratchet and Clank. That game is pretty much perfect to me. People like God of War too. God of War's pretty good. It's another big Sony thing. I think that's been a, like, I really don't care about the Xbox because there's not, well, one, because every big thing coming out for that I can play on my PC, and then also there's nothing really there. Like, there's no new Halo, there's no new anything.
Wait, isn't there gonna be a new Halo?
Yeah, there's gonna be a new Halo, but it got pushed back already. It's been pushed back like once or twice or however many times.
Oh.
And they announced it like 5 years ago.
Treatment.
Yeah, seriously. It's like Halo Infinite coming whenever, and it's like, oh shit, coming after that. Oh fuck, all right, it's coming at some point next year. It's like that's where it's at.
Oh brother. Oh no.
It's supposed to be a launch game, I think, for the Xbox, and it just wasn't. But isn't it ridiculous? Like, I was talking to Synovia and I think my mom and another family member recently, but the Xbox naming convention is so bad. I think it's probably worse than the Wii to the Wii U. Remember how the Wii U, everybody made fun of it because it was such a bad name? Yeah. But it's like, oh, we got the Xbox One to the Xbox One S, which is like a smaller version of that. And then we have the Xbox One X, which is a more powerful version of that. But they're all the same console playing the same games. And then we have the Xbox Series S, which is the new lightweight kind of Xbox console that plays your old Xbox One S, like Xbox One games, but it's the new console. And then we have the Xbox Series X, which is a more powerful version of this new wave of consoles. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, I just want to buy the new Xbox. How do I do that? And there's like,
they should just what they should do is just name their Xboxes the new Xbox, and all old Xboxes become the old Xbox.
I don't know. I'm kind of okay with numbering them. I mean, not like numbering like the PlayStation 5 is, because that's kind of like a, every 8 years or whatever there's a new console. But if the Xbox thing is more of an iterative thing, like this is basically a computer. We just want you playing Xbox stuff, and these are computers that play Xbox stuff, and we'll keep going, and we'll make incremental upgrades every year or whatever. Then maybe it's like the Xbox 2021 edition, the Xbox 2022 edition, like that. At least it makes sense. You're like exposing the fact that this is like a soulless, lifeless annual thing that you just keep adding to, and it doesn't really matter anymore like consoles used to, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
I have no idea. Naming conventions, I'm very bad at naming stuff, and I understand Microsoft's pain in that regard.
Yeah, I mean,
they should have just gone with the letters of the alphabet, honestly.
Y box, Z box.
Yeah, the A box.
Yeah.
I think it did run into issues with that, though, because somewhere, some way, some letter plus box at the end of it's going to be something not appropriate.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was thinking when the W box is the last one they can make there, and then that's going to be the most up to date. Yeah, but that's not far, then that's going to be the best console, but somehow the Xbox is the worst, but it's just after W. It's like, you know what I mean?
I mean, they can always just restart, because after 26 consoles, if you call it the Xbox again, no one's going to be like, oh, you mean the one from 25 years ago? They're going to be like, oh, okay.
But what about when you're searching for information for it? Then it's like Xbox. To 2019.
Are you telling me that you think in 25 years searching on the internet is going to be exactly the way it is now?
Either way, it's not searching on the internet, but just if you are identifying some sort of thing, you need to be able to identify it besides just a name like that. If it's the same name, like go try to find information about the Final Destination with like the 4th Final Destination movie, and don't put the year. Like that's a cheat. But if you can't find information about it if you don't put the year. That's what I'm saying. The year just kind of needs to be there.
Yeah, I guess you could retroactively call it like the Xbox Legacy Edition. Go the Tron route where it was like Tron and then Tron Legacy.
But then that's confusing because that wasn't what it was originally called. So you wouldn't get like original news articles about the Xbox Legacy or whatever. You would get, how do you find that information? Like, how do you aggregate it if it's named something different after the fact? You know what I mean?
Who is out here looking up information from 25 years ago on a gaming console?
A lot of people. Not
There are no 25 years ago gaming consoles. What are you talking about?
The PS1 was out 25 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the NES was out in the 80s. That's like,
oh, shit.
The Atari was out in the 70s, the 2600.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, no, my point is, like the historical thing, and I think this is true of anything. I think historical preservation of stuff is super important. That's why I have like 16 terabytes of storage on my desktop, because I'm fucking insane. But it's all photos, and it's like, I think it's history. I mean, it's a very niche thing of history, kind of like we talked about meme history and know your meme or whatever 2 or 3 weeks ago. But like, I think it's important preservation of that stuff. Otherwise, I mean, it's like, yo, you remember the PlayStation? And it's like, no one does. Like, it's gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, you're right. You're right. Maybe I'm not cut out for naming conventions either.
I don't know. I think Wii U was a horrible name, and is probably the reason that console didn't do well. And then I think the Xbox Series S, Series X is so much worse than the Wii U. It's not affecting sales. I just think it's a terrible name. It makes everything confusing.
Yeah, I actually don't know how the Xbox is going to sell / has sold. I know the PS5 is like impossible to find.
So is the Xbox. I think the Xbox is like the most successful launch by whatever metrics they had behind it, but the best launch of an Xbox console.
Wow, that's kind of wild. But I mean, I guess it has been a while since the new console. Like, everyone's been pretty waiting for these new consoles to come out for the last few years.
And the customer base keeps growing. Like, people who play games is a larger number, and they're selling a new Xbox for $300. That's a pretty crazy thing for a new console. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
the amount of people,
wild.
like the absolute number of people who play games is larger now than it was 2013.
That's true. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know, maybe. All these fucking normies playing iPhone games.
You're just mad because they're better than you at COD.
Oh my god. So, yeah, I think... So, I've been playing Cold War, like I mentioned in my solo one last week. I think that game could be really cool. I think there's nothing really wrong with Call of Duty. Like, Call of Duty as a game is fun. It's simple. It's like engaging and all that kind of stuff. It's good. It's a good game. And they keep trying to add to it, even though this is like Call of Duty 17 or whatever it is. And that's not an exaggeration. I think it's been annual since 2003. So like, they still keep trying to do new stuff every year. The problem is that the way that people play those games is because it's such a popular thing, and because you have a lot of people who just you get a large sample size, and there's a lot of shitty people who play games online, and so those people will like play the game in the worst way, and they'll lay down in a field of grass camping for 20 minutes, and then they'll call you a motherfucker when they win, and then people just trying to exploit like overpowered weapons and doing just shitty things to win, and then being shitty about it, and then that's Call of Duty. Like the whole thing of having fun, or like using this new gun because I want to see how it works, those things go away because everybody is trying to out camp each other, and that stuff ruins the game. So like, I've been playing it off and on, but I actually have been playing more Gears of War this week than I have Call of Duty, because there's a new season or whatever of Gears of War. They have all these new unlocks and new characters and new maps and all this other kind of stuff. So I'm very excited about that. So I've been playing a bunch of Gears again.
Oh, nice. They came out with some new skins for you to know life for.
They did, actually. So there's the last one in this season is it's like a Lambent version of another. I think it's like a Lambent General ROM. Anyway, big monster roach man, and you got like glowy yellow shit in your chest. So that's pretty cool. I want that. So I'll be to play the game for like, I don't know, 70 hours and do that. That sounds all right. And then there's new skins and new map. I think the interesting thing is that they keep adding new maps to the game, but the maps that they're adding were maps from like the first to second game and all that kind of stuff, like the classic maps, kind of like how Call of Duty did last year, where they kept adding more and more maps, but from Modern Warfare 1 or all that kind of stuff. And it's just weird how a year after Gears 5 comes out, they added Gridlock, which is like the most popular map from Gears 1 in 06. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, Gridlock. It's like, that's a 14-year-old map, and I'm hyped about it because it's better than the other maps. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a weird feeling, and Call of Duty did that too. So I don't know. That whole thing is just strange to me, I guess. Like, do you then put all these new maps in the next year's game, or was this the one that was like the celebration of the last 10 years of maps? Or do you just keep bringing every map to every game? You know what I mean?
That's an interesting question. I would bring the top 2 from each previous game, like the top 2, like most favorite, like the most, like the favorite / most well balanced one. It's like CS:GO with Dust 2. Like the Dust series of maps have been like probably the most popular of all time on Counter-Strike.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of weird. It's kind of like being AC/DC and you have a new album out. It's like, no one gives a shit, dude. We want to hear Highway to Hell again. Take that shit out of here.
Thunderstruck. What was I gonna say? Talking about bad naming conventions, CS:GO maps have some of the worst names of any map if you actually read them.
Yeah. Well, Dust 2 is pretty weak.
Like Dust 2. It's called like Dust 2 _ like Redux _ 4 or something crazy, and everyone just calls it Dust 2 because that's what it actually is.
It's like version control before Git. It's like final _ 2.
Yeah, because you get like a cobblestone is another map where no part of that word is actually cobblestone. It's called like CBBLSTNE.
Nice.
Or STN, and then like a bunch of numbers afterwards, and you're just like, oh yeah, it's cobblestone.
That stuff is cool though about PC gaming. It makes it unique. It's like, as long as I can remember, PC gaming has been like that, where I'm playing on some map name with an underscore on it, and I have to, when you install the game, you have to know that you click on the .exe. Like, something about the data in the way that like normies don't. So being on PC is different. It's like a different thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like some base level of understanding you have to have before you can actually run the game.
Yeah, and it puts you, at least mentally, like not super explicitly, but you kind of feel like you're in this cool club of people because you got underscores in your map names. Those fucking clowns over there on PlayStation, they have spaces in their words. They need English to understand what's going on, It like does that.
Actual written out words, whereas in our games it's just like, throw together some letters, and if it spells something, they'll call it that.
Yeah, exactly. I was also gonna say, I have all these Pokemon cards. So this has been another like thing in my life this past couple weeks. Logic, the rapper Logic, recently bought a Charizard, like a shiny Charizard, for like $140,000 or something stupid like that. And I remember that I have a card that looks exactly like it, but it's in Japanese. So I was like, holy shit. And it's got like a little plastic around it and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I called my mom, or I texted my mom. I was like, Mom, you have to go and look for my Pokemon card book. There's something in there that I think is super rare. I got to look it up. And so she went and got it for me, and she brought it for me. And then I found the card, and it's the card I have is actually worth like hundreds of dollars, but it's not the one that Logic bought. So I unfortunately still have to work in my life. But yeah, that was like a fun little detour this week of going back to my Pokemon cards. I still have them over here on the couch.
Speaking of that, there's a Twitch streamer / YouTuber called Pay Money Lovey. And I mean, he's kind of an odd dude, but he did a video of the most expensive Pokemon booster box purchase of all time. It was like 30. It was a huge number, whatever it was. I don't remember what the number was. But they had like 2 Pokemon experts and like one guy who's like the card collecting guru or whatever his type name on Instagram is. Yeah. Like bring the box in, and on stream they opened it, and on stream they were like, yeah, this thing has been tampered with. It's not the original box.
Oh wow.
And like, yeah, it's kind of crazy how like crazy. People are spending so much money on Pokemon again, but a bunch of those boxes that are out there now are like not legit anymore.
So they're like old boxes that were sold 20 years ago, whatever, and they're still sealed, right? And that's why they're going for that much money. Okay, because I saw Critical, the streamer YouTube guy, doing a pack opening thing, and he had one card that was worth like 10K or something. It was like a big deal. I don't know. That whole thing is so crazy because we like I was 5 in 1999, so that was kind of like the time to start getting into Pokemon, and then realizing that all those little booster packs and little things that I had and opened and put into these books, now I could just sell for like hundreds or thousands of dollars. It's so wild.
There's like no way of knowing that would happen like 20 years down the line, though. Like,
it's true. It's that same thing of like, I sold all my Tesla shares 2 years ago. It's like big FOMO.
You
did? Yeah.
Oh no.
It's like, whatever. It's the same thing. It happens in the stock market. It happens in whatever. But like, you just get the FOMO when you see what you could have had. Like, oh, I could be in a Lamborghini, man. I could have a whatever. That whole thing. I don't know. Same kind of feeling.
Yeah. It's kind of the crazy thing. Like imagine if you got into Digimon, because that was like around the same time as Pokemon, but that's like not anywhere near as popular.
I was kind of into Digimon. I have a Digimon poster still up on my or not up, but I have it at my nana's house.
I was gonna say it'd be kind of funny if you still had a Digimon poster up. It'd be like Kid Cudi posters and like Digimon.
I actually think that'd be a cool look. It'd be like I don't know, something about having a Digimon poster up in 2020 is very like hipster, but ahead of the hipsters. You know what I mean? Like the hipsters aren't even doing that yet.
The hipsters are still buying Pokemon cards. You're like, I'm 10 steps ahead. I'm already on Yu-Gi-Oh.
I actually bought a Yu-Gi-Oh game on Steam because I want to. There's one game I played on the DS, I think it was the Game Boy Advance a long time ago. It was a Yu-Gi-Oh game, and I actually really loved it. I don't like trading card games, like video game trading card games, but But yeah, I actually kind of unironically I'm trying to get into Yu-Gi-Oh again.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with getting into those things. For me, I stopped liking trading card games when I realized that like that's the original pay-to-win model. When it was basically like playing Magic the Gathering, it really felt like, oh, this is really fun. Oh, but everyone's just spending more money than me. Oh, I'll never be able to compete. Like I can just try to have like a fun, silly thing going on, but like I'll never actually like be successful in this game unless I drop a huge amount of money.
Yeah, I think I never got into trading card games in any serious way, so it's just like, I don't know, I never really had that experience. But when you're playing a video game of that, you're not paying real money for the cards. Like you're just.
Oh yeah, you are.
Well, nowadays you are, but I mean.
Yeah. Oh, like the old ones? No,
yeah.
That was just a time sink.
Back before video games were ruined.
Back before those games also are just pay to win, like Hearthstone and stuff is just straight up pay to win still.
Yeah. Back when they used to sell you a game and you could just play it.
None of this day zero patch nonsense.
Yeah. Are you still excited for Cyberpunk? I mean, I know you're still excited, but are you, in your head, are you kind of like, ugh, towards it at all?
Listen, I want to play a game where in that universe, because I really like Cyberpunk. It doesn't matter to me if that game is just absolute doo-doo in terms of story or whatever, or has like horrible glitches. I just want to play a game in that universe. That game literally could just be a driving simulator or something like completely like I just want to be in that world. So I am still excited for it, and I do feel bad for all the employees who no longer see their friends or family, but
do you think
I already put my pre-order in, so it's not like I could do anything.
Do you think that you'd be more excited for it if it was just like you didn't know anything about a date until like last week and they were like, yeah, December 14th or whatever, it's coming out?
Dude, the only reason I know anything about those release dates is because Reddit just burns itself down whenever Cyberpunk pushes it back.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think...
I still don't know anything. Listen, I still have never watched a trailer for that game. I still have never seen any gameplay for that game. I'm still as excited for it because I don't know anything about it yet, right? Like it's still like it's set in a universe that I think is really cool, in a like full of tropes that I want to play and like experience, because that's a universe that's like kind of hard to find. You don't find a lot of like cyberpunk in books or video games or movies or TV shows anymore. Like all the ones that were are like old now.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, like flip phones are the way of the future. Like they don't even know about smartphones yet.
They're coming back. Flip phones are coming back, dude. The Razor is a thing again.
I know it is a thing again, but I don't think it's coming back in the same way that it was.
No, yeah.
You know? No one, not like 100% of people are going to drop their iPhones for the new Razor. Like if that happened, then sure, the Razor can be back. But
well, no, because the Razor's running Android. No one wants that shit.
Hey, I like Android.
Sapphire heard me talking shit about Android.
Yeah.
The customization options are endless.
Speaking of old stuff, I started watching Adventure Time while I was sick, and I've now watched like I don't even know how many hours of Adventure. I've watched hours of Adventure Time. Some of that I was just straight up fell asleep because I was sick. But I'm on season 7, episode 1, and some of those seasons have legitimately like 50 episodes. So
holy shit, I didn't know that. Do you enjoy that show?
I love Adventure Time. I stopped watching shortly after season 7. So within like the next, I think like 10 episodes, I'll be on new stuff that I've never seen before.
Nice. Yeah, I've never seen Adventure Time. I've been meaning to get into it. I just haven't.
I have no idea if you're gonna like it or not.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy it. The voice actor for Marcus from Gears of War is a voice actor on Adventure Time.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's Jake the dog, who's probably my favorite character in that whole show.
I did not know that. That's awesome. That makes me want to watch the show a lot more now.
Yeah, you can hear him sing songs and just be goofy and silly in a way that Marcus Phoenix is not.
Yeah, certainly not. I also wanted to mention, I finished Rent-A-Girlfriend. It's like a big moment in my life.
Oh, man. How'd it go?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And it was one season of Rent-A-Girlfriend. That's all that was available on Crunchyroll. And based on the last episode, there will probably be a season 2, and I will not be watching that. Basically, I've watched 12 episodes of this show, and nothing changed from my initial summary after the first episode. Nothing happened.
Yeah, honestly, that sounds about right for anime.
Yeah, I do think I'm more comfortable labeling it incel comedy at this point, though. I'm more confident that that's what it is. So
that's really worrying. Because that's like a really big hit popular anime, isn't it?
No, that's the thing about Crunchyroll. I think I mentioned this before, but I have no frame of reference. It's kind of like going into Netflix for the first time, but you've never seen like a US television show or movie. So you don't know what's popular, like what the kind of general themes and concepts and this kind of stuff are. Like I'm just overwhelmed by a bunch of, bright, colorful casts of anime characters all looking at me, being very kawaii,
Yes. Honestly, I'm not really surprised. I think a lot of anime falls under the incel humor category.
Yeah, I'm trying to find something else. I'm going to start watching a new one actually today, but just wanted to give my quick update on Rent-A-Girlfriend. That was a show I didn't need to watch.
That's really funny. I wasn't really gonna watch it after you gave me the rundown on the first episode. I was like, it's probably not my thing. But that's kind of lame that it just never went anywhere.
It's whatever. I wasn't expecting much. I was just waiting for the show to become something, and I realized it wouldn't. Once the final credits rolled on the last episode, I was like, shit, they're really not gonna do anything, huh?
That's really lame. I mean, they got to make money somehow, right? Like, they just keep you going.
I guess. I don't know what the appeal is in the first place. I mean, I watched the whole season, so I guess whatever the appeal is, I agreed, because I technically have watched all of it that's available, but I don't know what it is.
Did you agree, or were you just like, yeah, I'm just going to finish this because I'm already started it? Because you are that kind of person.
It was more that. It was more, I started this, I'm going to finish it. It was just something to have on, I guess.
I got you.
But yeah, I'll find something else.
I'm probably going to watch the sports climbing anime.
Oh yeah,
I like rock climbing,
yeah.
And people who know that I like rock climbing recommended it to me. So
nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still gonna finish Adventure Time first because it's like I have like 11 seasons total to watch, so I have like 4 more to go.
That's like 900 episodes. You got to get on.
Yeah, it kind of is. Like honestly, over the course of like 2 weeks, I basically had Adventure Time on my TV while I was either like awake or asleep or somewhere in between.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Did you play any games or anything while you were sick, or was it just kind of being dead and watching Adventure Time?
Well, when I was like sick, I basically laid on my couch and died, and my dog sat and watched. This is actually like one of the weird things. I never had a dog before, so like I don't know if this is normal, but she kept me in her eyesight at all times. Like basically wherever I was, she could like look over at me at all times, and she never didn't do that. No matter where I was, the whole time I was like really sick. So I was just moving between like my couch and watching Adventure Time and my bedroom and sleeping, and then taking her out to do her business and then coming back. But then when I started feeling better, I was like, I don't really want to play Minecraft. So I saw that Stellaris had a pretty big update somewhat recently, and so I started playing Stellaris again, and oh my god, that game's so good. I love that's my favorite game of all time, I think.
Yeah. I think that's what you said your favorite game of all time was whenever we talked about that like in December or something like that. You said that was the one. It was free on Epic Game Store, which is insane.
It's what?
It's free on the Epic Game Store at the moment.
Oh, is it? I did not know that. I have it on Steam. And I bought it like a while ago. Yeah. So really right now I just buy like the DLC I think is cool, and then I play it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, that game is just their most recent update, or I guess like the update that I hadn't played yet, was the one that fixed diplomacy, or like really like overhauled the diplomacy system. And so there's like a lot more like interaction you have to have with the AI, and the game's just like way more like
involved,
fun and involved. Yeah.
The
last big update that I had played was for the economy. It's like how you run your stellar state. Mm-hmm. So like that one was difficult because that one suddenly made you have to like think ahead of like pre-plan an economy basically. Mm-hmm. And this one is like, how do you interact with all these other people and like do stuff. So it's been very fun, but it's also like mentally demanding, so I can only play it for like short bursts right now.
Yeah. Is that one of those games where you can feel the time leaving, or is it like Civ where you play a game and it's like 5 hours later you're like, what the fuck?
It's like Civ. So like basically Stellaris is continuously running version of Civ. Mm. So every real life second is 1 day in that game. Mm. And so you'll just be doing stuff and suddenly you'll be like 3.5 hours in and you're just like, oh, but I'm like about to declare war on these people, or like, oh, but like there's this big thing about to hit the Galactic Senate and I need to vote on it. So it's kind of cool.
That does sound fun. That sounds like the kind of game where I would love to just kind of start playing at like 10 p.m. and then just go until like the sun is up. That sounds great.
Yeah, that game is kind of like that, where you really like the learning curve for that game is like kind of stiff, right? Because they don't really like give you a tutorial on like how to play. They give you like step by step when you're like in the game, but it takes a while to like figure out like some of the mechanics, and even right now, because they did like the diplomacy update, I didn't understand any of the mechanics until like somewhat recently of playing. It's like as I was playing the game, I was like, I have to figure out how to do this like now. So I have to like go through and like look through all of my options and be like, what the hell, how do I, and then figuring all that out. But yeah, like learning curve is steep on that game, hella time consuming, and like a real big time sink, because like you'll start playing and legitimately it'll be like it starts off slow and then like builds up speed, and then like some periods will be slow because you aren't in a position to do anything, right? You're just waiting for things to happen. And then suddenly it's like, some horrible crisis happened, or oh no, I'm in a recession or a depression. How do I pull this damn thing out of it? Or like war got declared or something crazy.
Yeah, that sounds like exactly like your kind of game.
Yeah. Okay, I want to tell a story. Okay, so I was playing, right? And it's my first time playing with a Galactic Senate. Before this most recent thing, like there was no like international community. The Galactic Senate is basically like the UN, and everybody can like pick a thing that they want to have up on the floor to vote on, and it's like every so often something will come up and you can vote on it, or you can vote for it, you can vote against it, or you can like not vote at all. And one of the things that came up was a workers' rights charter, basically saying you can't own slaves, And I was like, this is perfect because I don't own slaves and a bunch of these other people do own slaves. So if I can get this to pass, I'm in a really good position because I don't own slaves. They're in a really bad position because now their economies are like completely shredded. But too many people had slaves and they were fighting to keep slavery. And I was like, no, how do I fix this? And so I like went around and like bankrupted my whole place basically to like curry favor to try to get enough people to vote with me. But even that wasn't enough, and it ended up failing, and I was in a depression because I didn't have enough income anymore. Like I literally spent out to try to like
You got lobbyists, basically.
yeah, I basically became a lobbyist to try to get this thing passed. And then the really unfortunate thing is because when I was in the depression, another thing hit to make a security council, and that's like the UN Security Council, and I was like, I need to be on that, but I don't have like any of the economy to like be on that. So I ended up not being on it the first time around, and 2 other states that really didn't like me were on there, and they started passing stuff that like gave them a lot of power, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm about to get dunked on. But now I'm on the Security Council and it's okay.
Nice. What's the vote when an asteroid is coming? They just like vote to let it hit them? What is the actual resolution there?
For what?
When you said voting on an asteroid, like an asteroid is coming to hit them or whatever.
Wait, I said voting on an asteroid.
Or you said like a meteor is something to hit the Galactic Senate or some shit.
Oh yeah, it's like resolutions basically are like you need to like different resolutions do different things. Like some of them are like you need to have like a certain level of economy in order to participate now. Other ones are like, hey, you need to deal with this issue. It's like different resolutions do different things. It's kind of like the UN in that like some things a bunch of people need to get together to work on, and other things like it's just up to that individual.
So instead of voting to make the meteor illegal, you actually like blow up the meteor or something?
Yeah, you can go out there and do it if it's your empire, but like for example, there's these space creatures that just move around. They don't do anything aggressive. They literally just like poof in, hang out for a little bit, and like poof out. And there's a resolution in there where killing them is an automatic sanction from the Galactic Senate, which at this point in my galaxy is like really stiff. Like you get economic sanctions, administrative sanctions, and military sanctions. Basically like your whole gambit of things that can be levied against you if you kill them. But too many of the empires in my world hate these things apparently, and they won't pass the damn thing. So people are just ripping up. Basically, they're killing whales, and I'm trying to stop them from killing whales. They won't let me.
That's funny.
I don't kill them when they're on my turf, but I can't prevent other people from killing them without going in and like declaring war.
Right.
And I don't necessarily have the material to fight that many wars.
Nice. I like how your play style is basically like you would take over everybody and make them do what you want to do, kind of like a dictator, but you just don't have the military resources at the moment.
I'm like the opposite of a dictator, dude. I play as a citizen republic. Basically, anybody who's a full citizen has a vote, and then I kind of follow through with what they're voting for.
Yeah, but then you're trying to enforce your country's thing on other countries, and you're saying you would declare war, but you just don't have the resources. That sounds like
the way my play style is like if there's another state out there that has slaves and I'm not a slaving state, I'm gonna declare war on them to try to free their slaves. Or if, for example, there's two in my world right now. One is a artificial intelligence, like a machine intelligence, and they want to kill all biological life and only have robots. Yeah. I'm very opposed to that, and so as soon as I can, I'm going to declare war on them. There's another one that's a biological swarm that wants to consume, like literally eat all biological life, and I'm also opposed to them. So I will declare war on them when I get a chance as well.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll put them down so that the rest of the galaxy is safer. Basically, I'm like installing. I'm gonna make peace in this galaxy one way or another, either through diplomacy or the sword.
That's I don't know. I don't want to have a political compass conversation.
If this was the kind of game that you'd like, I definitely find it fun to play with you. But I actually don't think you'd like the game.
Why not?
I just don't think it's your style of game. I think you would get bored or overwhelmed, because there's like hours where you're just waiting. Like this, you're just like waiting and basically like just doing like little things while you're trying to pass the time.
That's kind of how I spend my life, so maybe I would like that in a game. It's kind of a more focused version of that.
Maybe. I mean, if you ever want to try, the way that the game's set up is that if one person has all the DLC, the other person gets it when you play multiplayer.
Nice.
So if you ever want to try it, just let me know.
Will do.
And play multiplayer.
Except I'll never play a game with you again. Competitive strategy type thing.
This game is way different because in 8-bit armies, right? That game I'm gonna dig on you because that's like my real forte. Stellaris, I've played like 200 hours in, or like 225 or something like that. Yeah. And I've only ever won once. It's like I lose a lot in that game. So, I'm not very good at it. I just have a lot of hours in it.
We'll see. I still don't think it'll be some time before I can play a game with you again.
And we also don't have to be at war with each other. You could also be a republic and not own slaves, and we can be friends.
See, that's the just do what I want you to do, and I won't invade you.
Listen, my requirements are pretty straightforward. Don't try to kill all life in the galaxy, and don't try to own slaves. And if those two things are true, I'm totally chill. All right. But if one of those things are true, I'm gonna militarize up. I'm gonna destroy you. I'm gonna dismantle you like one little bit at a time.
Great. Sounds good.
Also, I have a question for you. Have you ever washed your pillow?
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
I made a mistake.
Didn't wash your pillow?
When I was done being sick, I was like, I should wash my pillow. The problem is I have a shredded memory foam pillow, and it's like the big body pillow. Mm-hmm. That thing has been wet for like 7 days now.
Oh, yeah.
I can't dry it. It won't dry because you can't put it in the dryer. And then it won't dry because the top will get dry, the bottom will get wet. And then when you flip it over, the top will get wet, and the top will get dry, the bottom will get wet again. And I've just been moving it, flipping it over every few hours.
Maybe try putting it on its side out on the porch, like in the sunlight.
So it is on the porch on a ironing board with the cover taken off because the ironing board has like little holes at the bottom. So I was thinking like, oh, well, like that'll help like, aerate the bottom a little bit better. That's not helpful. And I don't know if I can get it to stay on its side permanently or stay on its side without like constant supervision.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily want my pillow to fall in the dirt because I just washed it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It sounds like you're making some sort of progress. I'm looking forward to next week on Pillow Watch to see if it's dry yet.
I really hope. I've been sleeping without a pillow because I only own one pillow, and it is awful.
That's some like serial killer type stuff. Owning one pillow. You have one fork, one bowl.
No, I have many forks and many bowls. I have 8 forks and 8 bowls and one big pillow. Because my pillow fits my bed exactly, right? So I only need the one because it's only me. So I just have the one pillow down, and that's it. And I don't like sleep with multiple pillows because that pillow is like, I picked that pillow because I liked everything about it, including like the height that you sleep on it at. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't compress to the point that I'm flat on just one pillow. It has like some like resilience to it. But yeah, it's been like I washed it last Sunday and today is Saturday and it's not dry.
Yeah.
Which means I can't use the pillow. So I've been just pillowless.
Do you have a spare blanket?
No.
Do you have like another you could get like a t-shirt, make a pillow out of a bunch of t-shirts.
I have 2 comforters, one for summer, one for winter, 2 sets of sheets, and then a blanket singular.
I'm just saying, you need something that's soft that you could bunch up and put under your head when you sleep. It's not hard.
I thought about using dog, but she doesn't like being laid on.
That's also not ideal. I don't know about you, but I'd probably be pretty fucking grossed out about sleeping and having dog hair all over me when I wake up.
I have dog hair all over me like at all times because she's shedding so much.
Yeah, you and I are different people.
Yeah, she's dropping her summer coat for her winter coat, which means that I basically have a whole dog coat worth of hair in some stage of being shed. So
nice.
It's just taking some time and just hair all over the place. The one thing that actually irritates me about it is I get her hair will get stuck in my mustache because I have facial hair right now, and that'll get like it'll make my nose itch because they're like it's like hair in your nose a little bit. And I hate that because it makes your nose runny. So it seems like I'm sick, but really it's just dog hair and I can't get it out.
Whatever, it's fine to have the appearance of being sick, especially now because you can get out of like any social situation that you don't want to go to. It's like, oh, sorry, I can't go to your friend's giving, Yeah, no, I can't. I'm fine though.
No, my solution is I'm going to shave all of this before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Not like the day before Thanksgiving because that's a recipe for disaster, like 3 days out.
Wait, how is that a recipe for disaster?
Because, I don't know, like if you mess up and you cut yourself, you don't want to have like a cut in your cheek like going into Thanksgiving because that'll hurt while you're chewing.
Do you just use like a straight razor? I've never had that happen.
I use like a razor. Like I don't use an electric razor.
Well, yeah, I use a razor too, but like, how do you cut yourself?
You never cut yourself?
No. You
can cut yourself with one of those.
Oh.
It's not easy, but if you mess up, it is. If you have like if you have a lot of hair and it's thick, like especially on like the where your cheek becomes your neck, basically like that.
Yeah.
That part, like here and here. Like you can cut yourself accidentally.
Well, you know me, I got this forest growing all the time.
Yeah. I like how you were like, well, I've never cut myself shaving. It's like, how much do you actually have to shave, sir?
I shave 10 seconds every 2 weeks, and it's for this mustache right here. And I have 4 hairs on my chin, so
this is
real.
2 weeks for me.
Jesus. That's awesome.
I guess. I mean, I might not be allowed on an airplane with this, so
it's fine. Also, who's on airplanes right now? No one.
No one.
I got my Arizona driver's license, by the way. I can technically fly on planes, whatever. Like that real ID requirement or whatever, the new version of ID that you need. So I officially live in Arizona.
Oh, shit. Okay.
What?
I need to update my license.
Why? Oh, your address?
No. Well, no, I don't. Listen, if MVD has to send something to me, I'd rather it get delivered to my mom. I check my mail like once every month. So if I got a ticket, and my mom would know about it, and I would go get it. But like,
nice.
If they gave me a ticket for a whole month, I wouldn't respond.
It's probably fine.
No, we have to in Arizona. The licenses were no longer being accepted as a form of federal identification because they were missing something. And so you had to have your license updated by October in order to keep, like, basically, in October was when that was going to happen. I don't know if it's still going to happen, but, like, if I want to fly now, I have to take my passport.
I want to say they pushed it back because the world ended this year.
I would hope so, but, I mean, oddly, like, some things didn't get pushed back. Like, and that might be one of the things that didn't.
I'm not sure. Either way, I'm sure it's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I'm hopeful that it'll be. I mean, I'm not flying anywhere between now and probably like a vaccine. So
I'm not flying anywhere for at least like a year or so.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
We move on to Song of the Week. Or not Song of the Week. Jesus, home game stuff.
Yeah, home game stuff. Did you have stuff, or want me to just kind of go for it, or what do you think?
I mean, just like real quick, I got called out a lot in the last 2 episodes.
I didn't call you out. I was just saying your name.
I'm just kidding. No, I thought everything you showed over the last 2 weeks and stuff was really cool. Because I know you were asking for. You said like, oh, I wonder if Yazeed watches this. I hope he gives me his thoughts. I think it's really cool, and I do think it's the right way to go with having users and the generating certs that way. Especially because one of the things that you said that was kind of big was that like you don't want people to just be able to generate random certs, right? Like
yeah, because it's
that's
expensive.
Not ideal.
Yeah, because it's expensive.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's expensive, and also like that hurts us because that makes us like a not safe cert holder or whatever. Right.
Well, I was just saying, yeah, I don't want to store people's certificates, and I think generating the certificates should be like a very managed thing and very kind of, I don't know. I think we have a lot of things to think about when we're generating and retrieving certs for people. So I just think in general we need to be careful about it, and yeah, just finding like a good, solid, stable service that can do that stuff without us worrying about things that much would be beneficial.
I did have a question for you on the user stuff. Maybe you're going to talk about that today, but does everybody who's using it need to have a user, or is it just the person who's hosting the home games instance?
Yeah, so it's just the person who's hosting, because the person who's hosting would have some machine running home games, and they would basically just need to have the certificate for their like namespaced wildcard certificate. So like whatever .joseph.homegames.link, they just need to have that on that machine running home games. So typically that's just that one person. So yeah, the other people who connect to it would just connect to it the way they do now. They don't need to provide any login info.
Oh, cool, nice. Yeah. Hey, I think that's like really like all I had, because I didn't have a chance to work on home games at all. So.
What? Unbelievable. We're gonna have to have a talk about that.
I was only dying.
There's no excuse, Yazeed.
You aren't actually dead, Yazeed. You should have worked.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so you don't need the account for anybody besides the person who's doing that stuff. And I think, kind of an update on where that stuff is at the moment is, like I mentioned on last week's episode, I have kind of a modal where you can click a button and it downloads certificates. I really got that as like a test, just to kind of call the homegames.io backend to see if I can actually do that. But I don't actually want that button to be there on the real website. I don't think it has like any use outside of me testing it, because the actual process would be when I have the code locally or when I do whatever and I start it up, it'll check the the certificate directory, and if there's nothing there, it'll prompt for a login and all that kind of stuff. And you can also, in the future, you can probably just say, no, I don't want to log in, and it'll fall back to kind of like, just HTTP, and you won't have all these other features, but you'll still be able to run it. But the person, when they want everything enabled, they would start the process, they would log in, it would then contact my certificate service, it would then retrieve the certificates, keep them locally, and then just go with HTTPS and everything like normal. And they wouldn't have to do that again the next time, because the certificates would still be there.
Oh, okay, cool.
It'll probably make a little request to homegames.link in the beginning, though, still, to be like, hey, I have this certificate, is it expired? Because if it's expired, we need to renew it and then give them a new one. And we need to make that like as seamless as possible, so people don't, all it is just prompt for a login. Hey, it's been a month, log in again, you're good, and you keep doing this whole thing.
Do certs expire after a certain amount of time, or is is it like a bill where it happens like at the same time every month?
No, they expire at a certain amount of time after their creation. So I think I can configure it, and I forget what the range is, but I think at the moment it's like 30 or 60 days. But so every 2 months you'd have to, we'd have to regenerate another certificate.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I mentioned on the thing that like it's 75 cents per certificate, and I think it's up to the first 1,000 certificates. So basically, once I'm billed $750 for the certificate generation, which hopefully is a very long time from now, then that cost goes down to like a fraction of that, and then at the end of it, it's a penny each. So a penny each is pretty great. So when we get to that point, I feel like it's easy to sustain that cost or to supplement, whatever, to have something to pay for that cost. If we have 10,000 people on this thing, it's like, hey, here's a Patreon, literally like $1 pays for 100 certificates,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's a weird place to be, because it feels very much like nothing is done and nothing is ready, because I haven't touched actual home games in like 3 weeks. And in my head, home games has been like totally abandoned for me to go and do all this certificate generation stuff. But I'm almost at the end of it. I have this new kind of process where you sign up, and so Cognito has this thing. Cognito is a service I'm using on AWS, and it has these kind of different user states, and you can configure a lot about how a user is kind of registered and confirmed, and what attributes they have, and all this kind of stuff. But you need to have a user be like confirmed, and they can't log in until the user is confirmed. So you probably used to having a verification code, like send to your email, click on the link, or do whatever, and we'll verify. And so basically I need to support that whole thing. So you sign up, and then you get an email, and then you're in this state of like registered but not confirmed. And then you get that email, you take that code and you put it back into the website, and then you confirm, and then you can log in, and then you can generate certificates and all this kind of stuff. I also made it so if someone already has the email you're trying to sign up with, it'll reject it. So that works now, unique emails. We have password requirements, so you need like a number and a symbol and a whatever the hell, and it needs to be 8 characters and all this stuff. But it's becoming like a real website. And so I think once this is done, and then kind of going back to home games and having that stuff be able to really like the potential for what we can build is a lot more after all this stuff, and then we can kind of keep going for it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see where we're at in a year, but like a year ago, it was very much not this, and so we'll see. Like I think it's kind of a cool position because the search stuff is pretty big.
Yeah, that is like huge because that solves a lot of our problems, doesn't it?
Yeah, like pretty much every problem that we've run into has always been like, oh fuck, we need certs. And then we have certs. It's like, okay, well, I would say that the biggest problem that we have now is still getting a good idea of like the latency breakdown, see where everything is, see what's taking how much time and all that kind of stuff, and having a good way to measure it so we can have a good way to improve it. And then the whole kind of, diffing the game states and having an algorithm, like a fancy fast algorithm for that. That's a whole other thing. But at the moment, our biggest thing is certificates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you have anything else you want to talk about for home games?
I guess kind of like a side thing. So I want home games to be performant all the time. Like I think it should be able to run on a pretty, low tier laptop or low tier whatever, low piece of hardware. So I was using my 2014 MacBook Pro, which is like a dual core processor with 8 gigs of RAM, and it's like pretty fine, but it's not amazing. And it's 6 years old. So that thing was able to run home games pretty okay and pretty quickly. But it kind of chugged, and that's kind of how that's what really drove a lot of the performance investigation stuff for me. Just kind of thinking, as someone playing it felt like shit. So I wanted to look into why. And so now I have a new MacBook, and all that stuff kind of went away because it's much faster. But I still have my old laptop, so I still want to use that as like the baseline. So I guess my point is, I still am going to use a 6-year-old MacBook to test performance of home games to see if it's good enough to use, is my thing.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, probably most people aren't going to upgrade to the new MacBook.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm not even claiming that anything I build is worth upgrading your hardware for. ever. So
buy yourself the new NVIDIA or AMD graphics card, new processors.
Yeah, but just put a link to buy a 3070 or whatever on our website, like recommended specs for home games.
Hell yeah.
Get that like NVIDIA at the beginning.
Yeah, when the 3070 is the minimum for a video game,
someone fucked up
in the future.
Yeah. Or it's 2030.
Yeah,
but yeah, everything runs great. I on the Mac, I had one problem where Git was broken, and like I had to go and reinstall Xcode. But other than that, everything was pretty seamless from the old laptop to the new one. It was a really great experience, and it's pretty fast, so that was nice.
This guy using Xcode?
No, I don't use Xcode. On Mac, you need basically like all the standard C libraries that everything depends on are part of the Xcode installation. So like Git depends on some libraries that exist, like provided by Apple in Xcode.
Really?
Yeah. Like, you know how when you have like a Linux install and you have to install, it's like dev dependencies or like whatever, like the common dev core toolkit or whatever the hell. Xcode is basically
like
that.
SDKs.
Yeah. Or like standard C headers. I forget, but it's like, oh, I'm missing C library, blah, 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 64-bit. And it's like, oh, right, I just need to install the thing that has a C compiler in it, and then I'm good to go. The Mac version, or the Mac version of that is Xcode, because Xcode has the software but the IDE, but it has all the other shit in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I didn't know that all of that was shoved into Xcode. I thought Xcode was like just a generic IDE.
No, like Xcode is basically how Apple determines that you actually build things like on a code level. Like you basically need Xcode to do anything developer-y on a MacBook, and you definitely need Xcode if you're writing iOS apps or Mac apps or anything that'll run on an Apple operating system, because it's Apple.
That makes sense. And yeah, I'm glad that we're looking at it as like you can run this on like a pretty old build, because I think you should be able to.
Yeah, especially because at the end of the day, like nothing that we're doing here is actually graphically or computationally expensive. The thing here is networking and network traffic and dealing with Wi-Fi shittiness and spikes in TCP latency or whatever, all this whatever, just weird stuff. So yeah. Anyway, that's basically it for me. I don't really have anything else. I have the kind of early start of user accounts being like a real thing, with being able to reset your password and confirming stuff with your email address, and moving out all the code that I have on the homegames.io website into its own certifier, like certificate thing service. Should be pretty simple and short there. It's going to be a node service, obviously. So yeah, kind of continuing on that. I believe I'll probably be done with this stuff before the end of the year, because the cert manager stuff is pretty... Oh, the other thing, I mentioned I talked to AWS support to like increase my limit and to also give me some clarification on what limit I broke, and to see why they even limited me in the first place, because nothing I did went against anything that was written on the instructions. And they were just like, "Hey, Joseph, great news. We've increased your limit." It's like, awesome. Like now I can generate 2,000 a year or something. But like, I didn't generate 1,000 a year the first time. What did I do? Anyway, there's no like reply button. It was just like resolve the case. So I resolved it. But I can generate certs again. I guess that's my point. So they approved it. So I kind of proved that I know what I'm doing there. I want to say it's something like, this person generated 15 certificates, which is a button click, or it could be a button click. A reasonable person could not know what they're doing and be doing this, and every time they click this button, it's almost $1, and we don't want them to get mad. So we're going to just turn off this feature until they contact us and we can verify that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. But I don't know what I'm doing. So here I am. I'm going to keep clicking the button.
You know what you're doing enough to trick them. To trick them.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I had for home game stuff.
Right on. You ready to move on to Song of the Week?
Song of the Week. So your song of the week was "The Way It Was" by Coast Modern, which Coast Modern sounds like a made up band name from like a TV show.
It kind of does.
This song reminded me, I think I've had this before with one of your songs, but it reminded me of that Cage the Elephant song, "There Ain't No Rest for the Wicked." I think it reminded me of that, just because anything with like a little bit of twang in it, like in that, like in the guitar or whatever instrument that is, whatever string instrument with some twang, immediately reminds me of that song. So the first half of this song reminded me of that, and then it went into that little like breakdown, and then it went into like a fucking techno version of the same song, and it was pretty cool. And I feel like that was you trying to flex your like, I like changes in songs now, I'm a changed man vibe.
I think Coast Modern does that a lot in their other songs, because I like at least one other song by them. But I don't know if I would say I was flexing so much as just...
Hold on, give me 1 sec.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. There were sounds coming from the kitchen that made me think Synovia was maybe dying, so everything's okay.
Yeah, that look on your face was like concerned and also a little bit of confusion. So it's like, I'll let him sort it out.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin the thing. We were talking about your song, and you were saying something.
I think Coast Modern just does that. I wasn't really trying to flex. I do just really like that song.
Yeah, it was fun. It was like I think I've said this quite a few times, but it felt like a song that could just exist in the background. Like it can kind of just be there, and it provides like a general idea of like energy, but it's not like reminding you that it's even there. It's just like, yeah, it's just like a smile in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the background smile. I do like that in my songs.
Yeah.
To just be able to like tune it out if I need to.
Yeah, but it was cool. I liked the little switch up. I think as someone who doesn't know anything about music and like song structure and how sounds work and that kind of stuff, like how this, like how something flows into patterns and whatever. When a song is a song and then at the end of the song it's the same song but it sounds different, I just like my simple mind loves that shit because I just don't understand it. You know what I mean? I just watch it.
You're like, this is magic.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know. I just I like that song because I vibe with it, and that's true about pretty much every song that I like.
You're all about the vibe. You're the king of the vibes.
I'm the king of the vibes. Your song of the week was Jeezy by Jeezy.
Jeezy. At the time, he was young Jeezy, but he's matured and now he's Jeezy.
Now is he going to become old Jeezy in like 5 years?
We'll see. Yeah.
Mature Jeezy. I'm gonna be honest. Originally, what I was gonna do for this part was I was just gonna like say lines that I thought were hilarious because there were two that really stood out.
Yeah.
But then as that song progresses, so much of that song is just so funny to me. One of the lines, I'm gonna read two lines because these are the two that I wrote down.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 a.m. Take your old ass to sleep. Talking about his neighbor complaining about, I think, how loud he is at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes. Yeah.
The other one is Jeezy like to mix Arm & Hammer with his Coke. Isn't that just baking soda and Coke? What is wrong with this person? Isn't that terrible?
I think now I've never cooked crack, but I think when cooking crack, baking soda is an ingredient. Cocaine and baking soda, I believe, are ingredients. So Jeezy liked to drink, Jeezy liked to smoke, Jeezy liked to mix Arm & Hammer with his Coke. Like, he's just telling you about himself.
Oh, I legitimately thought this man was talking about Coca-Cola and was taking baking soda and was putting like a spoon of baking soda into his Coke and then drinking that. And I was like, that sounds awful. Like, awful.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. If you don't have like the context for young Jeezy as a rapper, like basically all of his content is cocaine rap. Okay. So going in, that would probably make more sense if you knew that.
Yeah, I was a little confused. I was like, why is this man drinking? Why is he flexing that he drinks baking soda with his Coke? Like, who in their right minds does that? I thought that was just like, I legitimately thought that he was just telling us about himself in that section. Like, he was like, yeah, I like to drink. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So he drinks alcohol. And it's like, I like to smoke. And I was like, okay, probably like weed, I guess. And it's like, I like to drink Arm & Hammer by Coke. And I was like,
Took a turn.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. The first two, like, the first one was like, I'm hard. The second one was like, weed. The third one was like, baking soda and Coca-Cola. I was like, why?
Yeah.
But there's so many other lines in there that are probably like that, where it probably means something completely different in the context of a rap song. But to me, I'm like, this is incredible that somebody's talking about this in a song as a flex.
I think, yeah, he's got a bunch of lines like that. He's kind of I don't know. There's probably a word to describe his style of rapping, but basically he has just funny punchlines.
Yes.
And
yes, his song was funny.
Yeah, but at the same time, you could listen to it, and it's like it's a catchy, good song, and it's not like it's funny in content. It's just funny. You know what I mean? And it's a weird line to balance when you have a song about being a drug dealer or whatever, and you're basically telling jokes and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I made it my song of the week because that song is like 14, 15 years old. And I don't know if you're familiar with young Jeezy as a man, as a rap. Okay, so you know who Gucci Mane is, right? Gucci Mane.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna call him Gucci because I don't like saying Mane. But Gucci and Jeezy, about 15 years ago, had a song together called "So Icy." They're both from Atlanta. They had a song together called "So Icy." I don't remember exactly what happened afterwards, but there was a falling out between the two of them. And it was like a pretty severe falling out. And then young Jeezy, at the time he was young Jeezy, he said in a song or somewhere or something, but he basically put out like a bounty and said, I'll give someone $10,000 or like $50,000 if they can bring me back Gucci Mane's chain, like the chain that he wears around his neck. And then so a group of dudes showed up to Gucci Mane's apartment, and Gucci shot and killed one of them in self-defense. And so that was like this insane thing, because basically it was like one of Jeezy's friends died because he tried, but it was like this crazy moment, right? And then Gucci Mane, of course, bragged about it for like 15 years. And there's a song called Truth that he has. It's like one of the most brutal songs I've ever heard ever, because it's like a diss song, but he's bragging about killing this dude's friend in the song. And so basically the point is, this is like a legendary thing in music and hip hop and in Atlanta, whatever, and all this stuff. But these two actually, like they're massive rappers. They're both hugely successful, very popular, but they don't make songs with each other. They haven't for all this time because of this whole thing that happened. And so over the past almost year, since shows aren't a thing, concerts aren't a thing, a really creative thing that people have been doing is these versus battles where typically it's like very legendary people in hip hop specifically, or R&B, will basically go in like in a head-to-head face-off in hits, like go hit for hit, which one's better, and they'll do 20 of them. And so there was this rumor that Jeezy and Gucci Mane were going to do one, and everybody was like, that's fake, that's not going to happen, those guys hate each other, someone's going to like get into a fight at the minimum at that thing, because they said they were going to do this in person. And so anyway, I watched it. There were like almost 2 million people watching the Instagram live stream, which is insane. And it was cool. Like no one got hurt from the looks of it. Nothing bad happened. And then at the very end of the verses, they played So Icy together, the song that they originally made. But in the middle of it, Gucci Mane played Truth. He played the song that's like brutal, and he played it to his face, and like it was tense. It was like a big deal. Anyway, that's like the summary. It was a big thing in hip hop. It was a big moment in hip hop history. And Jeezy is one of my favorite Young Jeezy songs, and he played it in one of the rounds, and I just love that song. So.
Oh my God. Why is hip hop like legitimately like some sort of like hip hop in some way is like some sort of mythical form of music where like the main artists don't kill themselves, they get killed, or like they do crazy stuff that's actually like, it's illegal to put a bounty on someone, and then people actually showed up trying to collect that bounty and someone died because of it. What?
Yeah. And then like
shit.
Gucci Mane didn't get in trouble for it. Like, that's self-defense. Like, he never went to prison for that. He went to prison later, but not for that. And so I don't know. It's just crazy because like I'm a huge fan of hip hop music. Like, it's always been the thing I listen to. It's the first genre of music I ever liked. It's like my favorite. And I guess it's cool because it's kind of like how English is they say is the hardest language to learn, because there's all these little quirks about it, and people learning English as a second language is very difficult. I feel like hip hop is like that for genres of music. Like, if you naturally get into this stuff over all these years, you just know all the lore and like all the different, like, your whole thing is how regionalized it is and how you can tell different sounds from different places and different people and all these different styles. It's so normal if that's your like home base, but if you're used to some other thing and you try to learn about these things, it's probably so crazy to get into hip hop as a genre, like from the outside or whatever.
Yeah, like when you were telling me some of the stuff, like I think it was, I don't remember what song. And literally every time you just tell me about like, oh yeah, like by the way, like this one rapper like put out a diss track against Drake and just actually just revealed to the whole world he had a son.
Yeah.
Like, I don't follow any artist that closely, but if any of the artists I listen to ever put out a diss track that hardcore, I'd be like, this is the wrong place for it. Like, I listen to chill music. No one's supposed to die over this.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine it's like, oh, Calvin Harris is beefing with Diplo. It's like, who gives a shit?
I think Calvin Harris beefing with somebody is actually kind of big, because isn't he like one of the bigger producers of pop music?
I don't know. Probably. I'm just saying it doesn't happen outside of hip hop, you know?
Yeah, it does not. No, it doesn't. I guess the biggest one that I would have known if I didn't know that much about hip hop because of you was the Taylor Swift Kanye West thing.
Oh, yeah.
where they had like recorded phone calls of each other and stuff. Like
that whole thing was such a big stupid mess. I don't even know who was correct in that whole thing, but it was like, oh, whatever. They're both probably lying.
I mean, it didn't really hurt, or it seemingly didn't hurt or help either of their careers. I think they just don't like each other.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really followed Taylor Swift much, and obviously Kanye is kind of on his own thing these days. So I don't know if you could even hurt whatever Kanye is currently doing. Like I wouldn't even call that his career in the way that it used to be. You know, like he's not a rapper anymore. Like that's just such a big shift for someone who is pretty much a rapper. You know,
is he not a rapper? Is he not going to put out any more music?
Well, he said he's not going to put out any more secular music, which is pretty big because that's all he made up until his most recent album.
What does that mean?
Like non-religious, like where religion is not like a central theme of the music.
Ah, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or maybe it was non-secular. Either way, whatever the word was, he's no longer making music that is not Christian. He can make music that is probably considered hip hop. Like his last album was that. Jesus is King was that. But it's not like you're ever going to get a Kanye West rap verse again, like a new one, you know? Unless he completely changes out of his current thing, but I don't see that happening.
He's tired of his farm up in Montana.
I think it's Wyoming actually. But yeah, I believe him. Like I don't see him ever going back to the old thing. I don't think he could. Like I think this is what he's doing now. Is living in Wyoming and being all about Jesus and stuff, which is cool.
He has a wife and kids. Did they also move to Wyoming?
Yeah, they're all out there. Dude,
wow.
There's a Kanye video where he's just out on the farm or on the ranch, and then he has like these tank looking truck things that have wheels the size of my house, and he has several of them, and he's just bringing in like his family and friends onto the property, and it's all of this just like very pretty, powerful people all just getting together at his ranch, and like that's the video. There's no flex, but like that in and of itself is the flex. Just the documentation of what is happening on that day is the flex. All these people showing up to his massive property, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kanye West. Anyway, he's not really a rapper in the traditional sense anymore.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. I've never in my whole life heard of something this crazy. But hip hop's like full of it. Like the Tupac and Biggie Smalls thing, right?
Yeah.
Like that's legendary. Even outside of hip hop, I know about that.
Yeah. Jay-Z and Nas.
What?
Yeah.
Jay-Z?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a whole thing is I forget the name of the song. I think it was maybe called The Takeover. I forget what the song was, but that Jay-Z made, but it was like a Nas diss, and then Nas made a song called Ether, like E-T-H-E-R, Ether. Mm-hmm. And that's become a thing, like a verb. Like you got ethered in the thing, because basically their song fucking destroyed your song, and that's like a legendary thing too. But then that becomes a part of like the way that you talk. It's like, oh yeah, you ethered him on that thing. Or another thing is Jay-Z and Eminem made a song called Renegade, and I think that was Jay-Z's song, but people claim that Eminem like out-rapped Jay-Z on it, so that people say that you got renegaded on your own song, like when they did Better Than You. Or like the song Stan by Eminem, because it's like a super fan, right? People now say that they stan something. That's become even outside of hip hop, like, oh, I stan BTS or whatever the fuck. So yeah, it's just interesting, and because it's such a popular art form, it's like it's gotten into just culture in general outside of this bubble of hip hop culture. It's super cool. The way that
Gank
people
was the interesting one you told me about last time I was on.
Yeah, when people say that they ganked someone in League of Legends, like that shit's from NWA music like 30 years ago. It's so crazy to hear it, just normal words, you know, for people who don't know NWA or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. It's hard for me to know where stuff originated unless I go look it up, and a lot of it seems to come from hip hop now.
Yeah. It's
the only crazy death I know of in literally any other form of music is Kurt Cobain. Legitimately.
I thought you were going to mention that Lil Peep is dead again. I thought you were just...
Yeah, Lil Peep is dead. I know that. And wait, Juice WRLD's dead. Juice WRLD's dead too.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm learning.
Yeah, so you remember these things now. There's a bunch, and it's like so tragic. There's all like, and if you follow the genre, the sad thing is there's a bunch of people who just like die very young in the thing, and it's tragic. But because there's so many rappers and the internet and everything moves so fast, it's like, yeah, that was a year ago that guy died.
Miller.
Yeah, Mac Miller, and then yeah, very few, like a very small percentage of people who die are talked about years later, and it's like, oh, you realize like this is just fucked up. Like all this stuff is fucked up. You know? It's crazy.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
I do not. That was a long episode, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. As always, our music was done by Ty Friend Tynan or at Nightan on Bandcamp. You can catch us on our website our website is just homegames.io or on Twitter at homegames.io. All one word.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the U.S. and happy just the end of November almost to everyone outside of the U.S.
When's Canadian Thanksgiving?
I think that happened already this year, but also no one in Canada listens. None of our stats have Canada.
Not yet.
Yeah.
What if I move to Canada?
Just got to spread the word to all the moose and whatever.
Hey, Toronto's a big city.
I know. And Vancouver. And then the rest is like igloos or whatever. I have no idea. I've never been to Canada. But I imagine
there's parts of northern Canada like there's a chance that no human has ever been to.
Yeah. Well, shout out to that part of Canada.
I'd love to go to northern Canada.
One day when our location stats show northern Canada, I'll know that we made it. Until then,
that's true.
This is not a success.
For me, it's if we have listeners in Mexico City.
Why Mexico City?
Because then we had to have crossed the language barrier. Like, people are so interested in what we have to say, they're willing to listen in their second or third language.
People in Mexico City speak English. I mean, we have people who...
That's their second language, though. You know what I mean?
But we technically already have that. Countries where English is not their main language.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We did it then.
All right. Let's wrap it up forever.
We already succeeded. That's why I was willing to die. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.